Now, we all know sisters are always doing extraordinary things and very much are leading in so many different places, whether you're talking about in the home, in corporate America, in academics as well. Well, that is the subject of Avis Jones DeWeever's book. We've often touted on the show. The book is How Exceptional Black Women Lead. It has just been released in Haiti, in French-speaking countries in Africa. Also, it's going to be housed in more than 20 U.S. embassies on the continent as well. It explores strategies that dozens of black women in corporate America, politics, and nonprofit groups have used to become successful. Okay, so Avis, so what you do here? How many sisters did you talk to?
So I spoke with over 70 exceptionally successful black women in a variety areas of work. So black women in corporate America, black women in nonprofit America, elected officials and other public servants, as well as very successful entrepreneurs. And I kind of weave together their wisdom around how to successfully navigate the challenges of race and gender in the world of work and still come out on top.
So did you find that a consistent thread among them is that being black women, it is a much different path to leadership than it is for white women and others?
Absolutely. I mean, this hashtag Black Women at Work is basically an example of what these women have all had to navigate throughout their careers. There's clearly a different standard, let's be just very honest, around black women and achievement in the workforce as it is applied to everyone else. And what I find particularly disturbing when you look at the data around this, which I do go through in the book, is that black women are the most ambitious demographic group in America. We're more likely than anyone else to say that we want a promotion. We're the most likely women to say that we want to advance to executive leadership positions. Yet when it comes to who actually gets those positions, we are severely underrepresented. The people who have, unfortunately, I would say, benefited most from the sort of fixation on diversity efforts in our current dynamic isn't anyone of color. It's mainly white women. So even though we want to achieve, we're not the ones who are actually getting those positions.
Well, that's why, for me, I talk about inclusion. You know, Oprah talked about that with Ava DuVernay. Ava said, forget diversity. This is about inclusion. Do you have a seat at the table? I asked every book author this, and so doing the research, what was the one wow moment for you doing the research?
I guess the wow moment for me was just the awe that I felt around speaking with all of these women and seeing just how fierce and bad we really are as black women. Even though we face those challenges, these women were able to stay true to who they were. They were able to understand how to navigate those challenges even though they were held to higher standards. They were able to believe and have confidence in themselves to be able to expand their field of knowledge and acquire what they needed to acquire in order to succeed. And then they had the fortitude to make it happen. And so this book is really about how do you actually begin to have that sort of confidence, how do you sort of lay those markers, and how do you understand how to initiate actions that will pay off for you in the future in your career in a way that will allow you to maximize your chances for success.
Multimedia marketplace.
Got questions from the panel there. Julian first.
Avis, but thank you for including me in the book, by the way.
Absolutely.
I was grateful to be
I still remember our interview at Starbucks. It was wonderful.
Starbucks, absolutely.
Multimedia marketplace.
When you look at
Starbucks, Julian, the last person, need more caffeine.
You're right about that. I had tea, Scott. And
what's the question?
Multimedia marketplace.
My question, can you compare the past of politicians, corporate women, and people in the nonprofit sector?
Oh, golly, that's an excellent question. I would say, first I'll start off with the last example, people in the nonprofit sector. It's very interesting. I look at that from two perspectives. I look at that from the perspective of black women who are in sort of the progressive sphere, you know, in nonprofit areas that are progressive-led, largely white environments that still face the same old racism that you would expect to face anywhere. And I also look at it in sort of the traditional sort of black sphere, where we see traditional civil rights organizations where I believe that we face issues of sexism, obviously.
Absolutely.
And so really, you know, no matter what environment we're in, we face those dual challenges. How that differs from black women, for example, in corporate America or even as politicians, I believe that in corporate America, there's such a structure to that culture. And it's really understanding how to navigate those structures and be able to form those key relationships that you need to be able to ascend up those structures is probably our biggest sticking point. In terms of political action, it's really about about having the personal gall to do it anyway, because frankly, we're not going to get the same support from the Democratic Party most of the times that everyone else does.
So what are you?
I got about 30 seconds. Scott and Ralph, only one of you men get to ask a question. Y'all got to put on.
I'm the Democrat, so let me go. So you've identified the issue. What were your takeaways from the interviews, and how do we close that ambition gap?
Absolutely. Well,
30 seconds, Avis. 30 seconds. Go.
Quickly. You have to have a plan for your career. This is not something that you make up on the fly. In addition to that, you have to build that boss network, which includes a wide range of people, and not everybody needs to look like you in that. And you have to learn how to communicate with power without being perceived as the angry black woman that's unfortunately oftentimes projected onto us. There are skills associated with that, and I talk about that in the book.
Excellent.
Folks, the book is called How Exceptional Black Women Lead, Unlocking the Secrets to Creating Phenomenal Success in Career and in Life by Dr. Avis Jones DeWeever, and I'm going to give y'all an inside story. Every time Avis would come on the show, she would forget to tell them to put her book in the book title. I said, Avis, you got to lead and to have your book always mentioned. I said, sell, sell, sell.
That's right.
Come on, Avis.
And in that vein, sales, sales, sales.
See,
English
I
and
told
French
you.
versions.
All right, then.
The multimedia
All right,
marketplace.
Avis, Julian, Scott, Ralph, thanks a bunch.